After understanding the 3 key steps to acquiring due diligence, let's shed some light on what kind of information companies are required to collect and examine. The companies that wish to sell their products in the EU must issue a due diligence statement that proves that their goods neither originate from deforested land nor lead to forest degradation. The EUDR especially affects supply chains and market share, likely changing trade patterns and limiting market access for the non-compliant products. Though it can potentially increase operational expenses, what is worth noting is that it can provide a competitive edge to the early adopters, since eventually more businesses will pursue suppliers who are EUDR compliant. However, there are some nations for whom EUDR comes as a serious challenge to deal with. The EUDR hugely affects India's trade, especially impacting the exports of coffee, leather, paper, and wooden furniture to the EU, which must now be certified as deforestation-free. This situation imposes additional compliance costs and challenges in traceability for Indian exporters, particularly small and medium-sized enterprises, which could potentially limit their competitiveness under India's free trade agreement with the EU. Likewise, Brazil, a key exporter of goods such as soy, beef, coffee, leather to the EU, faces potential losses affecting about 30% of its exports to the EU, with the EUDR considered a harsh and one-sided policy that could disrupt trade relations and impose higher costs on producers. Indonesia, which is largely dependent on palm oil exports that constitute a large share of the global supply and EU imports, is also adversely impacted by the EUDR, which risks rerouting exports to countries with less stringent environmental regulations. Despite this, Indonesia is eager to finalize its trade deal with the EU, though it expects up to $7 billion in losses due to compliance with the regulation. Irrespective, the EUDR is reforming trade policies and export strategies for India and other countries by demanding stringent environmental compliance that affects market access and competitiveness under existing and prospective free trade agreements. The EUDR comes with its own set of challenges, majorly around the complexity of tracing raw materials through global supply chains. This requires companies to invest in advanced tracking systems, which can be particularly difficult for small-scale businesses. In addition, the due diligence process demands significant resources, which includes funding for technologies, expert personnel, and risk mitigation strategies. Building reliable data collection and verification frameworks, especially those involving geolocation and deforestation status, further adds to the burden. Despite these hurdles, the regulation offers befitting opportunities for forward-thinking businesses. Complying with the EUDR can provide a competitive advantage in the EU market, where demand for sustainable, deforestation-free products is increasing. It also encourages innovation in sourcing and production methods, potentially leading to long-term efficiency and cost savings. Most importantly, aligning with the EUDR enhances a company's reputation, positioning it as a sustainability leader and helping build trust with stakeholders. The implementation of EUDR later in 2025 offers the stakeholders all through the supply chain the much-needed opportunity to completely prepare for compliance. The evolving perspective of suppliers, as well as the wider recognition of the advantages provided by traceability solutions, pave the way for a future full of bigger innovation and collaboration. When the EUDR fully enters into force, companies embracing it will have the best chance of flourishing in a world that is described by transparency, accountability, and collective responsibility towards a greener future. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Until next time, stay curious and stay inspired.